Welcome to Dad's That Cook. I'm Jason Glover. I'm on a quest right now to go out around the country and find dads that know how to cook. They may be plumbers, electricians, physicians. We're gonna highlight the incredible meals that they make, show everything that they do, and get you the recipes so you can make them when you're sitting at home with your family as well. There's no time limits, there's no secret ingredients, and no experts, just good cooking. It's time to fire up the grill and grab some tasty chunks of meat, because in this special episode of Dad's That Cook, Marc Drucker is going to teach us the art of smoking a brisket. He's also going to show us how to take coleslaw and mac and cheese to the next level. And a barbecue wouldn't be the same without a pie, coconut cream pie, that is. All right, welcome to Dad's That Cook. Jason Glover here, and I've got an awesome guest here today, Marc Drucker. Nice to meet you, Marc.
Nice to meet you as well.
You mainly cook all the time, right?
I do all the cooking. So about 5-ish days a week, I do all the cooking in my house. My wife doesn't enjoy it as much as me, is probably the diplomatic way of putting it.
Your wife, what's her name?
My wife's name is Robyn.
And your daughter?
Is Hannah.
And your daughter is a student.
A student.
That would be fitting for an 11-year-old.
She plays the flute.
Nice.
She's in Spanish immersion, so she's bilingual and biliterate. She loves animals more than anything on earth. Yes.
Wow, great.
Like, just crazy about animals. So today I'm making a smoked brisket, which I'll smoke for a number of hours and then braise for a little bit and then be fall apart tender, yummy. Baked homemade scratch mac and cheese with a yummy cheesy bechamel sauce. Coleslaw, coconut cream pie.
Sounds like we're having like barbecue day.
Speaks to my Southern California.
Heritage. I'm from the South. Oh, I can't wait. This is gonna be tasty.
Yeah.
This is gonna be awesome. We've got something that you've got to wear.
Okay.
All right.
I
got
have
your
to.
chef coat.
It's great. I'm completely in love with this.
This one even has your name on it.
I know. I like that.
Chef Marc.
And it's spelled correctly,
And
which
it's
is
spelled-
a stretch for some
See,
people.
I told you I can read.
I know.
Not totally.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Why don't we go and check out what you're gonna make?
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, so we're in the kitchen now with Chef Marc, and we are going to make this brisket now. Please run us through your process.
So my process is to get a big piece of meat.
Big piece of meat.
This is 6 pounds. And then I like to trim it down a little, take off some of the fat, even though some of it'll render out. I take a knife and I score it in a crosshatch, about like inch by inch or inch and a half by inch and a half.
Square.
Because if you don't, once it starts cooking, because the fat is tight, it just shrinks up into this like knuckle. I inject it with beef broth to kind of keep it moist inside.
You don't use that for other things, do you?
I'm not saying I do, and I'm not saying I don't.
Just squeeze it in there, huh? Whoa, that's crazy.
You can see that it's, as you're doing it, it's kind of plumping up.
Right.
So the rub is a lot of pepper, garlic powder, some onion powder, some mustard powder, a little sugar, a little bit of salt, some cayenne, and you put that on, then you throw it on the smoker and have a beer.
And have a beer.
At 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I tend to be a little more generous, a little liberal with the rub, because again, it's only gonna be on the skin and you want it to kind of cook through the meat. And
Look at that.
flip it over.
Wow, you're gonna go double-sided here, huh?
Oh, yeah.
You're really living on the edge today, Marc.
You know, it's all gambling. So it's an electric smoker, which again means I don't have to sit and wait and I don't have to tend to. It's got an electric thermostat, so it just keeps it dialed in at exactly the temperature that I want it to be.
What temperature is that?
So I do it between 225 and 250, and when it gets maybe close to the time where I'm gonna pull it, sometimes I leave it on the smoke setting, which is about 150 degrees, and all it does is it just smokes and smokes and smokes.
How cool is this thing? And just let it sit for hours.
So I'll come check it in about an hour, hour and a half, and if it's running a little fast, I'll turn it down because you want enough smoke to get in there.
Sure. When you first started smoking, did you ever like kill a piece of meat? Did you ever like make it into shoe leather? Or?
Grilling, yes. Smoking, no, because you're doing it for such a protracted amount of time. It's almost mistake-proof. As long as you're keeping the temperature of the smoker low enough, you're really not gonna overcook anything. You can overcook it by a touch, but all it means is just gonna be a little more smoky good.
All right, great. Well, let's leave that there and let's go get started
back
on the rest
inside.
of this stuff. All right, cool. Now we're in the kitchen. He's got his stuff all set up for what? Our pie? All
Coconut cream pie.
Well, let's go through it. Tell me what you got.
So the first part of the custard, you need egg yolks. So it's 5 egg yolks with some sugar in it. So about a tablespoon of sugar. And then cornstarch, which is gonna tighten everything up. So it's gonna make it actually pudding-ish. Plain old vanilla extract. Sugar to start the custard with the milks. Butter, This is unsweetened shredded coconut. Important that it's unsweetened because you're already adding a bunch of sugar and stuff to it.
Absolutely.
Regular coconut milk, so not
Regular.
skim or light coconut milk because that actually makes the custard separate. And then cow milk, and I use whole milk because fat is flavor.
And we got our pie crust.
Animal crackers.
Animal crackers.
Sugar, coconut,
Sugar.
and butter.
And butter.
And then throw it in the oven so it gives it an actual crust because this pie doesn't get baked.
Awesome.
You just refrigerate it.
There's no need to even put it on a plate then at that
Utensils
point,
are
right?
unnecessary.
Yeah. You're gonna make your own whipped cream too?
Of course.
Of course. I think I'm moving in. That's what I think. Well, let's see how the magic starts working.
Yep.
Just get that.
Add all the liquid. Add the coconut.
Okay.
And the sugar. Whisk it until the sugar dissolves a little.
And then when do we turn it on?
Right now. On kind of a medium-ish heat, and you got to stir it every once in a while so that the milk doesn't scald on the bottom.
Right.
So while that's going, take the eggs with a tablespoon of sugar.
Yeah.
Then you add the cornstarch to it. I like doing it gently because you don't want clumps.
Right.
And then you just make a mess.
Well, of course.
So now you got this ribbony kind of smooth consistency. So if you put all the eggs into the hot liquid at once, you have scrambled eggs.
Yeah, and that's
if you add a little bit of the hot to the eggs come up to the right temperature. I've had the scrambled egg custard before.
Of course.
It's not very good. All it has to do is get up to about a simmer or a boil, and then it just tightens up. I consider it magic, but it's sciencey magic. My wife is convinced that the reason I like to be in the kitchen is because of the toys. The kitchen is the place in the house where you get to have gadgets and stuff. So I'm going to turn the heat off of that.
Okay.
So ladle.
You want me to hold that for you?
That'd be great, thank you.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
It's normally my daughter's job. So slowly, slowly, slowly. And then as you do the second or third ladle, you don't have to be as careful. It's already at a requisite temperature.
Now it all goes back into there.
Dumped in.
It smells really good.
Put it back on heat. So you want it basically to be about what you would expect warm pudding to be. You can see it's coming away from the sides as well. So you put the butter in, and this is all off heat, and you just whisk it until the butter melts. So now it's pretty much done. Then I put a little saran on the top so you don't get the pudding skin.
Great, awesome. Well, let's go stick that in the fridge then. Okay, we're outside. We've been waiting for a few hours. So what are we looking at here?
We're looking at
Ooh, look at that.
a big hunk of cow.
Oh, that's party right there.
So it's been cooking for a while. Some of the fat's rendered. So then I need to check the temperature of it to make sure it's close enough. Yep, we are dialed completely in. Pull it off, bring it in, and then we actually braise it in the oven for about 2 or so hours.
And you're gonna braise it with what?
Beer and beef broth.
Beer and beef broth.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with beer.
Nope.
No.
So for braising, I just add the beef broth and then literally 1 beer, and then it just cooks off for another few hours or so. Try not pouring it on top.
You still want to have that flavor of all that stuff on top, you know?
I try to place the thermometer as it's going in to about the thickest part, because the middle, where it's the thickest, it's going to take the longest to get done. So we cover it up with some foil, giant tent-sized piece of foil.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a large foil.
With the foil on tight, it keeps the heat and the steam inside. Essentially, you're cooking it in a liquid, and you're steaming it so it gets up to the right temp. So then it's gonna cook at about 225, 250 degrees for another couple hours until it gets to 195 degrees. So then this is gonna cook for a couple hours, and then we'll pull it off and let it rest.
All right, well that's doing its thing, and we now need to start working on some like coleslaw.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get on that. Awesome, we're gonna do some coleslaw.
So the base is cabbage. So a lot of coleslaws are made with mayonnaise and stuff, and I just never liked that. And I found this recipe for one that's just basically a vinaigrette. So I have red onions, red wine vinegar, some parsley, and cabbage, and jalapenos that are all gonna slice, and that's just the base of the salad. And then there's a vinaigrette, which is basically red wine vinegar, Dijon mustard, salt, olive oil.
Great, well let's get to chopping. Let's make this thing happen. It's got some skills.
Really, when you're doing stuff, you want things of similar size put together. Although again, the jalapenos you don't want too big, because then you're gonna have a mouthful of pepper.
Yeah.
And then these just go in here for about 20 minutes, half an hour. There you go. So then they just sit for a little bit. You want to just slice it thin.
So what you did is you got one big head, right?
And then I took the core out because that's just
you don't want to eat that. Yeah.
I'm just going to put another
You're gonna do a little
half chop on that. And then this will soften up with the vinaigrette once it's in the fridge. This also keeps for days and days. So then just slice these up nice and thin. And then on top there, and then some parsley. So, and then you want just a rough chop on this, because this is just really almost entirely for color, so.
Vinegar.
Thus, vinaigrette, salt, Dijon mustard, and then whisk that to combine, and then slowly but surely. So it's a pretty thin vinaigrette.
Awesome, that's
Yep.
pretty simple.
Drain this off as gently and carefully as I can.
You just put them in there.
Yeah, that. So just kind of pour this over, and then comes the fun part. Yeah, so there's nothing delicate about this. So then it's gonna sit in the fridge for a few hours and
Soak in.
soften and get
Right.
good.
Brisket's almost getting pretty close, isn't it?
It's getting close. All we need to do now is cook off some mac and cheese.
Oh yeah, the mac. Forgot about the mac.
The first step is gonna be using flour with a little mustard powder in
A
it.
little mustard powder.
Then you have some butter, and once that all binds up, then we add some milk to it, and then cheese.
Great.
And then you add the macaroni, and then you melt some butter and add it to the breadcrumbs and put that
Right.
on top for crunchy goodness.
Awesome, let's do it.
So it's just some butter in the pan.
Ooh yeah.
You want it to brown just a touch. Now you sprinkle on the flour and the mustard. You want it cooked because otherwise it just tastes like
some
buttery
law.
flour. So okay, so this is pretty much cooked down. So you can see it's bubbling. You can't really see any flour granules anymore. So then the key is going to be
Getting some of that milk in there.
Yeah, adding the hot milk. At first, slowly.
Slowly put some in.
Yep. It just completely thickens up, almost like glue. And you can see it'll smooth out. This is gonna cook for about 4 or 5 minutes maybe until it starts boiling. Yeah, so I'd say that's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So then turning the bechamel now into a cheese sauce, I add, so that's sharp cheddar and that's Monterey Jack. There's a lot of cheese.
It melts pretty quick.
Oh yeah. Add a pound of macaroni. It actually seems really, really soupy when you first do it, but it all just sucks into everywhere.
Wow, look at that.
The mac and cheese. Yeah, so you just, and it's gonna settle down.
Okay.
And then all we need to do now, put the breadcrumbs on top. So we have melted butter.
Yep. Put that in with Mr. Panko or Mrs. Panko, depending on how you look at it.
And just kind of want the panko coated. And then that's ready to go in the oven. So then it
That's
goes
awesome.
in a 350-degree oven for about 30 minutes.
Looks like our brisket's almost about ready to be happy here.
Yeah. There you go. And then this is gonna open up and reveal
Wow. Oh, smell that.
gently as we can. Pull that guy out.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I can't wait. But we have to wait. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
otherwise
it's still not gonna be.
all super runny.
I hear you. Little wrappy wrap there.
Yep. So to kind of keep the heat in and keep the moisture in. There we go.
Right?
And then it goes into the handy dandy cooler, which is working in opposite by keeping it warm.
Great.
And then it'll sit for about an hour or two and
Okay.
be ready to slice.
So what do we got here?
This is the cream for the coconut cream pie. So it's just homemade whipped cream. So it's whipping cream, cold, confectioner sugar, and some vanilla, and then a really cold bowl.
Really cold bowl. I saw you pulled that out of the freezer.
Yeah. Pour that into a bowl that's going to be big enough because it's going to double in volume.
You're gonna start with it.
So once it starts getting a little bit more volume,
Slap some of that sugar in there.
the vanilla, and then you just do it until it's almost butter, but not quite. Let me just.
Look at that. Perfect. The plastic on top definitely stopped it from making that.
Skin.
Yeah, look at that though.
About-
Just a big glop. Wow, that's a lot of cream, huh?
So that'll go back in the fridge just so the
Just to let it so it won't-
whipped cream doesn't
won't-
melt away.
melt away. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Perfect.
So we've got the coconut. We're gonna toast that up.
Yeah, it's just gives it a little nutty flavor.
Okay.
I mean, you could probably put the raw coconut on top, but
Probably good, but you know, you like your toast.
exactly.
So you just put it right in the pan?
Yeah. So you can see some of it's starting to get a little toasty. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. That looks good.
Really, it's nothing very delicate about this at all.
No, you're just dressing it up, just throwing it on.
Giving it a pretty cover.
Yeah, that looks neat. I like it.
And there we go.
Yeah, and then we can just put that back in
In the fridge until
again.
we're ready to eat it. So now we're ready to slice.
All right, so we got to pull the heart out.
So here comes the brisket.
Ooh. Oh.
And this is probably gonna be a little
Pop that.
hot.
Oh my gosh. Look at that thing.
The grain is running basically north to south like that. So you want to be cutting it
Against
it, because if you cut with the
It'll
grain,
chewy.
it just
It'll be too hard to
terribly
chew.
chewy.
Yeah. Wow, you got a nice sharp knife.
Yeah.
But I gotta get in there and try some of this.
Does
Oh
it
my God.
pass muster? And usually you want to slice as much as you're going to eat because it'll dry out otherwise.
The flavors are phenomenal.
Thank you. So there we go. So now we have a whole bunch of brisket to eat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that mess.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at
So
that.
it worked out perfectly.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just wipe my hands off.
I do the.
You do it that way?
Yeah, the back wipe.
Yeah.
And there's the mac and cheese.
Wow.
There you go. That's dinner.
We are actually sitting at the table with the Drucker family after cooking all day. This brisket my mouth is salivating. This coleslaw and the mac and cheese. If my kid was here right now, it would be the best day of his life with that mac and cheese, I can tell you. And I see that we have some family members now, so maybe you can help us out, Marc, and introduce us.
It's my wife, Robyn.
Hi, Robyn. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Good.
And my daughter, Hannah.
Hi.
So, Hannah, I hear you like to cook too. Is that right?
I like helping my dad
Yeah?
a lot.
I'm going to try this coleslaw because this looked really cool, and it's not your normal coleslaw, right?
No, and coleslaw stays good for
Oh my God.
a few days too.
Let's try this mac and cheese. That's really good.
And I've also done it where I've made the mac and cheese in a muffin tin. So you cook it for a little bit less time, but it comes out great.
All right, I gotta have some more of this brisket. I'm going for it. This is really good. I wanna have some of that pie.
That's what we're all waiting
All right.
for.
Let's try it out.
All right.
Let's give it
Then
a
comes
whirl.
the fun part.
The fun part.
Watch your head.
Yeah, watch your head, because you're gigantic. Not only is he a Sasquatch, he can cook. Oh, man. Oh, man. And I like the fact that there's so much whipped cream on the top.
Can I have another bite of yours?
No.
Well, thanks. Go and visit the site, dadsthatcook.com, and we'll see you next time. Awesome. So are you a dad? Do you like to cook? Do you cook meals for your family? Are you a regular dad like I am and not professionally trained, but you think you've got what it takes to be on my show? Go to dadsthatcook.com, fill out the form, and who knows, you might be the next person on our show.